Welcome to Episode 34, Risk Assessment Part 2, Assessment Practices and Prioritization. Our aim today is to turn risk work from occasional projects into a repeatable method that teams can use with confidence. A method is simply a consistent way to move from question to answer with steps that are clear, evidence that is captured, and decisions that are traceable. It should fit your organization's size, technology, and culture, and it should be easy to teach. Keep it simple. A good method defines roles, inputs, activities, and outputs so that any trained practitioner would produce similar results. When the method is predictable, leaders can trust the results and plan actions without guesswork or surprise. Building on that starting point, asset, process, and data inventories supply the raw material the method needs. An inventory is a living list of what you rely on and what relies on you, including systems, workflows, and the information they handle. Without it, risk statements float above reality. Imagine trying to assess a payment system without knowing which databases it touches or which partners handle settlement. Blind spots multiply quickly. Helpful inventories describe ownership, location, criticality, and data sensitivity in plain language. They do not need to be perfect to be useful, but they must be current enough to steer judgment. Start where you are and improve over time. From there, mapping threats to exploitable weaknesses makes the assessment specific and testable. A threat is a source of harm with motive and capability, while a weakness is a condition that allows that harm to occur. The map connects the two through a plausible path, such as credentials stolen through phishing leading to sensitive data access. Think of it as a storyboard that turns abstract danger into a concrete sequence. Keep the path realistic and short because long chains are easier to break. When threats meet weaknesses in a believable way, controls can be designed and tested against that path rather than a vague idea of risk. Extending that logic, analyzing control coverage and dependencies shows how protection really works in practice. Controls rarely act alone. They depend on identity systems, logging, change management, or network design to be effective. A control that assumes timely patching fails if patch windows are missed. For example, data loss prevention rules are weak without correct data labels or routing policies. Draw the dependency picture so you can see where a single failure undermines multiple safeguards. Then verify not just that a control exists, but that its supporting pieces are reliable. This view turns control lists into a working model of defense. From there, choosing qualitative versus quantitative scoring frames how you explain results. Qualitative scoring uses clear words on defined scales, which are easier to start and faster to apply. Quantitative models add numbers and sometimes currency, which can sharpen trade-offs if inputs are sound. Both approaches can work. The key is to avoid false precision or vague language that hides judgment. A hybrid often helps. Use words for clarity and numbers for comparison, while documenting what the figures actually mean. Pick the style that your audience understands and that your data can support without stretching. Building further, calibrating scales, weights, and thresholds keeps scores meaningful across time and teams. A scale must mean the same thing in January and July, and for one assessor or another. Calibration sessions align understanding using past cases, near misses, and agreed examples. For instance, you might decide that a certain outage profile always maps to a moderate impact, then test that rule against 3 historical events. Weights should reflect mission priorities, not personal preference. Thresholds should trigger clear actions, like deeper review or mandatory mitigation. Write down the rules, test them, and adjust carefully. Consistency builds trust. Continuing the craft. Estimating likelihood and impact requires transparency about inputs and reasoning. Likelihood is not a guess in the dark. It is a reasoned view informed by exposure, control strength, and observed events. Impact should cover confidentiality, integrity, and availability, but also downstream costs like delays, penalties, or lost confidence. Show your work. For example, explain that likelihood rises during unpatched periods and falls after a specific fix, and that impact includes service credits owed to customers. When estimates are grounded in visible drivers, disagreements become constructive and solvable rather than emotional. From there, prioritizing scenarios and response options translates analysis into action. Not every high score deserves the same treatment. Some items are quick wins while others require sequencing. A useful approach is to group work by outcome. reduce exposure, strengthen detection, or limit blast radius. Imagine two scenarios with similar scores, one fixed by a simple configuration change and one requiring a large redesign. You would likely address the simpler change first. Tie each priority to a clear next step, an owner, and a time frame. Momentum matters. Progress breeds confidence and unlocks support for harder problems. Building on discipline, sensitivity analysis tests how fragile your conclusions are to key assumptions. Change one important input at a time, like detection speed, vendor reliability, or user behavior, and note how scores move. If small changes swing results widely, your plan needs buffers and backup paths. For example, if a scenario is safe only when detection occurs within minutes, confirm that coverage and alerting truly support that window. Sensitivity work exposes hidden bets and invites contingency planning. It also helps leadership see where investment reduces not just risk, but uncertainty about risk. That clarity is powerful. From there, recording rationale, sources, and reviewers preserves the integrity of the assessment. Write briefly but clearly why you chose a value, where the information came from, and who agreed. Link to logs, tickets, or vendor notes when useful. Imagine returning 6 months later and needing to understand a decision in minutes. Concise notes make that possible. They also help new team members learn the method and avoid repeating past debates. Good records are not decoration. They are the memory of the program and the fastest way to explain choices to auditors and executives alike. Extending the method into action, communicating findings for decision-making means tailoring messages to the audience. Executives need the headline, options, costs, and consequences. Engineers need the path, controls to adjust, and test ideas. Regulators need clarity on risk, evidence, and planned remediation. Use plain words, stable scales, and visuals only if they add clarity rather than distraction. A short summary with a pointer to deeper detail respects time while keeping the door open for questions. Clear communication converts analysis into decisions that stick. Confusion wastes effort and delays mitigation. From there, integrating results with the roadmap and budgeting ensures that risk priorities actually shape work. A list of concerns without funding remains a wish. Tie each major item to a project, a schedule, and the resources required to finish it. For example, if identity proofing weakness ranks high, secure the budget for stronger verification, staff training, and rollout support. Align these items with ongoing initiatives so teams can deliver improvements without constant reprioritization. When risk drives the roadmap, technology choices, staffing plans, and vendor contracts begin to pull in the same direction. Continuing the loop, set a refresh schedule tied to change. Risk is not static, so your method should define when to rerun key steps, after major releases, provider shifts, noted threats, or on a steady annual cycle. Automate reminders and update inventories as part of ordinary work rather than special projects. A lightweight interim check can keep things current between full reviews. Small updates prevent drift. When refresh becomes normal, the organization avoids the shock of stale assessments discovered during audits or incidents. Fresh inputs produce credible outputs, and credibility wins support. In closing, a prioritized and defensible risk posture emerges when method, evidence, and action align. The method ensures consistency. Inventories ground the work, mappings make risk concrete, and calibrated scoring turns judgment into shared language. Sensitivity checks reveal uncertainty, and records make choices clear to any reviewer. Communication converts findings into funded plans, while scheduled refresh keeps the picture honest. The result is not perfect safety, it is informed choice. With a steady process and visible priorities, your organization can move forward knowingly, protect what matters, and adjust with confidence as the world changes. Thanks for listening. For more audio courses, daily newsletters, and more, please visit DailyCyber.News.